Okay, so before we get into this video, I just want to issue a spoiler warning for the Legacy of the First Blade expansion. So you'll know that since that wrapped up, I've made 2 videos about Legacy of the First Blade. One was explaining Aya's relation to the Eagle Bearer, and the other was talking about my thoughts about the DLC. If you want to watch those videos, they will be linked in the end screen, so be sure to go ahead and check those out if you're really interested. Well, in today's video, we're going to be talking about what does the ending mean. Not like an explanation for the ending, because the ending was a bit silly if you ask me, but what does it mean for the franchise? Where is the franchise going from here? Or where does it look like it's going, because it's Ubisoft and they like to set things up and then never talk about them again. So before we continue, it's probably best off watching that clip back just so we know what's going on.
You'll fight, and you'll fall. There will be times when you'll think you can't rise again. You'll want to stay down, but you will get up, Elpidios. Because you're strong. Because our bloodline is strong. And because we always get up. You'll ask why. And while you'll never know me, know this. You are my son, and I will always fight for you. You and those that will come after.
So if you don't know what's going on there, it's essentially stating that Aya is a descendant of the Eagle Bearer, which in canon is Cassandra, not Alexios, but that's irrelevant and besides the point. Essentially, they're just linking Odyssey to Origins, which they could do for 2 reasons: to either set something up, or to make Odyssey feel like it actually has a point. I reckon it's a bit of both. Probably more so the former than the latter, as the latter was explained with the modern day, supposedly. So in Ubisoft's mind, that is explained. Now they're just doing this to set something up. So what could that be? So the major difference between the protagonist of Assassin's Creed Odyssey and all the other protagonists in the franchise is, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the protagonist is something known as a tainted one, which means that they have extremely high first civ DNA, which makes them naturally more synchronized with pieces of Eden, naturally gives them more superhuman abilities. And that's the only major difference between this protagonist and any other protagonist that's come before. So they are linking this protagonist to Aya from Assassin's Creed Origins to link those games together, and that's where the Brotherhood was founded. So essentially from there the bloodline could go anywhere. To any what? Fuck off. Now I doubt they'll do that specifically, so essentially they've got the bloodline on the table to reuse later. They can take it anywhere and do it with anyone. Well, you could argue that the Brotherhood was stunted with Aya's son, as Aya's son was killed. However, you can always just reproduce again. You're probably thinking, why would they do that? It would completely undermine their commitment to the creed, etc, etc. We're talking about Ubisoft here. Nothing's off the table. And obviously why they want this bloodline to continue is because they probably want to reuse the superpowers gimmick, or at least that in some way. So if the ending of the Legacy of the First Blade actually has any relevance to the future of Assassin's Creed, it's likely because they want to reuse these superhuman abilities. Not likely exactly how they are in Odyssey, but so that they have an explanation for what they do. Another thing that this might mean for the future of Assassin's Creed is where the next game might wind up. As we all know where Aya winds up at the end of Origins: Rome. This doesn't mean it will be an Aya sequel. We could be playing as a descendant of even Aya in Rome, which means that they have the freedom to place the game in a more iconic period of Rome. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, but we've already been to Rome in Assassin's Creed, why would they go there a second time? Which is a big non-argument, as ancient Rome is a completely different environment to Renaissance Rome. So if you think it would be Assassin's Creed Brotherhood all over again, then you'd be wrong. We'd be seeing Rome in its prime. And likely not just the city, but bits and bobs of the entire empire. Which is actually something there have been rumours about, though Jason Schreier, I believe he's an editor at Kotaku, did state that he doesn't believe that the rumours about Assassin's Creed going to Rome are necessarily true, which I take his word for it because he is so deeply rooted in the industry that he would probably know. But that doesn't mean that it might not happen eventually. And of the ancient periods, it doesn't make sense to do Egypt and Greece and then forget about Rome entirely. So if you think about it, the ending of Legacy of the First Blade may actually be hinting indirectly at Rome. It's about as wild as speculation goes, but it's worth thinking about. And it's worthy of note that the recent rumour on 4chan, supposedly of Assassin's Creed Legion, stated that the protagonist would be both a descendant of Bayek Anaya and the Eagle Bearer. And guess what's now possible through one single bloodline? Although that rumour could have very easily been guessing, and the image that was posted alongside it on 4chan was fake, which you can tell by the wonky angle at which the background sits with regards to the eagle. So while the eagle looks 3D, the background looks 2D. My suspicions there were later confirmed by somebody showing me the artwork from the background, so it's 100% fake, though could there have been some truth in what the post was saying. Anyways, off of the topic of where Assassin's Creed might be going with regards to the Legacy of the First Blade ending, as it tells us literally nothing and leaves it more or less open to interpretation. It could go anywhere, but that's one of the places where it would make sense to go. And another interesting thing is, now that two of the Sanctuary Assassins, Darius and Aminet, which is Aya's chosen name later in her life, are related, where could they go with that? Are they going to draw a connection between the other Sanctuary Assassins and provide a little bit of explanation as to why they're all so important? And if so, why? The answer is obvious: it's the impact they made. But now two of the Sanctuary Assassins are conveniently related, which has to have happened for a reason, right? In real life, you can call that a coincidence. In storytelling, there's no such thing as a coincidence. Sorry, there is. In good storytelling, there's no such thing as a coincidence. So I do wonder what will become of that. Maybe in future Assassin's Creed games we'll see more and more Sanctuary Assassins, such as Leonius here, who was a member of the Roman sect of the Hidden Ones operating in the Roman Empire during the 1st century CE, who was famous for assassinating Emperor Caligula on the 24th of January 41 CE. So another connection to Rome there if you're interested. Now all of that was just wild speculation at its very finest. It means nothing, it's just what the ending might suggest, not necessarily what it does. It's how I've interpreted it, and in my mind there's no real other way that I can see that ending making sense. I mean, you could argue that it barely does anyway, but I don't think there's really much to it that makes it not make sense. It just is. It's just what it is. Where they want to go with it from there is anyone's guess, really. But personally, I think it's because they want to A, carry over the superpower gimmick, B, link together as many of the Sanctuary Assassins as they can for whatever reason, and C, go to Rome. But those are just my speculations. So be sure to let me know what you think down in the comment section. What do you think the ending of Assassin's Creed Odyssey's Legacy of the First Blade Episode 3 means for the future of the franchise? Because despite its seeming insignificance, it does seem to be suggestive of quite a lot. So please do get involved down in the comments. Anyways, thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff. I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you all very soon with another video at some point.